Today's episode is brought to you by Away. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/braincandy and use promo code BRAINCANDY during checkout. Welcome back.
Did you miss me? I missed you.
Where have you been?
And
It's
I
so
missed all
rude.
of you listening.
Have you?
Yes.
I bet you did. You didn't, log in one
I
time.
know. Well, you know what? There's very little service out on the open sea.
Well,
I learned.
Okay, welcome everyone. 247. This is episode 247. And Sarah was globetrotting.
Globe-trotting.
And you were in where?
I was in
I don't
the
even know.
Amalfi Coast in good old
What
Italy.
part of the boot is that?
It's like the toe, but like the laces almost, but low laces.
And what goes on there? What's the industry?
You know what's interesting? Fishing.
You could say anything, and I would believe
Right,
it.
right. I'm like mangoes. No, it's a lot of I went to Italy a lot when I was younger. My mom was a tour guide there, and so we spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
And she speaks fluent Italian. She's part of the culture. Blah blah blah. It seems like Italy has kind of become more touristy in a way that's turned it into Disneyland.
Ooh, really?
It is not like every single little town that we stopped at. We stopped at these 5 little towns that are all along the coast. There's Positano, Sorrento, Amalfi, Capri, and some other one.
Yeah.
And they were all basically the gift shop at any
museum or something?
Yeah,
or is it worse than that?
Worse.
Like the boardwalk?
It was the boardwalk.
Oh.
Every single thing was the same shop. I got back on, but I was like, wouldn't it be great to have a little diversity in these shops? It's either loose, flowy, linen-y clothes,
Right.
Italian leather sandals being made on the spot, which was going to be your birthday present,
cute.
but I was like, how do I get custom-made sandals for her with my foot? I mean, I know we both wear a 7.5, but
Right.
I feel like, that might not work.
They make them right there, though. That's
Right
cool.
there. Yeah, they have all the little... It's real cool. I wanted to do that, but I didn't have time
You were
nor the
book
patience.
solid,
I was
right.
book solid. And then the other thing is they're very famous for their lemon production and their citrus production down there. So they have pretty much every single thing you could possibly think of that is lemon-shaped.
Oh, my
or it's
God.
Everything. And so when
cute.
you and Gretch were talking about, I hope she brings back some souvenirs, I was like, the only reason I didn't because I wasn't sure about how they felt about lemon soap. Because that seemed like the only thing that they sold in any shop. I was like, it's either lemon soap or a Panama hat, a custom leather shoe, or a flowy linen dress.
Damn.
So I was like, and I couldn't even find any salt.
That's tragic. Although she really did bring me Italian. It said made in Italy. Italian
wow.
salt
Nice.
from Sheboygan. And it is good.
And
so.
she's right. I have not been to Sheboygan.
Don't they have olive oil or something?
Yeah, I mean, they did. Oh, my God. And we bought some. And,
Where's that?
well, this world traveler over here
You didn't.
brought home
You
my
didn't.
carry-on.
You
And
didn't.
guess what? Olive oil and balsamic in the trash.
No.
And honey.
Sarah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I would have thought the viscosity of honey could have been a wink.
You know what? We were in Switzerland where they were checking all the bags. They're a little stricter in Switzerland.
Who would have thought?
Oh, me.
Why? They're
The
neutral.
inventor of the Swiss Army knife and the watch isn't about precision and accuracy.
But they are neutral.
That's their whole thing.
That's so silly.
They're like
So you
rule
made it out of
followers.
Italy.
Because, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
We flew private.
Oh my God, really?
Yep. My husband's boss we went back with him to Zurich and
Just
they
the four of
chartered
you
a
on
plane.
this plane?
There were 6 of us, but yeah. One, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay, so that plane ride, they were like, whatever.
They're like,
Who
whatevs.
cares?
Yeah.
Bombs.
Straight from the whip to the baggage claim. No.
Once you
straight
got
from
around
whip,
the
no
regular
baggage claim.
people,
Yeah.
then they were like, I'm sorry, ma'am, this honey's got to
Yes.
go.
They were like, yeah. You're allowed to bring guns and knives on your own plane.
Right, that's
but
what I mean.
You can't bring
Yeah, what's
shit
this, a bowling
on-
ball candle? It's fine.
Fine.
Keep it moving.
A bowling ball candle.
Oh, well, I mean,
So
I could see you at like the customs or whatever, like trying to drink that all.
Oh my God. I was like, what can we,
Yeah.
in my mind, I was like, can't we just, I don't know, check it, send it back. Like I was willing to go through customs
options.
again, like go through, just check, like, I don't know.
They said no?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Like,
well,
and they also, every single bag of mine got searched.
Really?
And then they took a clear plastic bag and every, the teeny tiny sample bottles of perfume.
Oh, yeah.
They did not like that was not in the clear plastic bag with the fluid or liquids.
What did they say to you?
They took everything one and they're like this,
oh my
this,
God.
this, and then you put it into a plastic bag. I was like, I'm not gonna, the 0.0 ounces of perfume is not gonna.
I do not appreciate any sort of create the illusion of safety.
Yeah, because I'm like, this is bullshit. All of
You should have told
TSA
them
is
that.
bullshit. It is totally the illusion. I'm like, half the time nobody's looking at it's either they are or I have zero tolerance for that.
Yeah, and they're so serious about it.
Yeah.
And they get so mad.
I mean, I've seen a million heist movies where there are so many workarounds. All it takes is knowing one person on the inside. You put something on the bottom of a beverage cart that's going through somewhere, and it's come on.
Right.
And also, here's another thing.
Uh-huh.
Soda cans.
Yeah, what about them?
Have you ever broken a soda can in half?
No.
And how sharp the aluminum is?
Yeah.
So I can't bring my
That's a
cuticle
very good
clippers,
point.
but you are going to give me an entire soda can that I can turn into a
But how-
freaking machete with the simple twist of my wrist?
Wait, that's how you can break it? I
Well,
would think you'd need a knife to...
No, you can go back and forth because it's metal.
Oh.
It'll break. That thing is sharp as heck. I just
Yeah, I'm surprised
it's
there
those
hasn't been...
things where I'm
totally.
like, this doesn't.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, if prison life taught us anything, you can make weapons out of things. I'm surprised there hasn't been an incident since that shoe bomber guy. But Gretchen and I were talking about on that episode about the guy that stole the plane. I can't remember if we talked about it on there.
You know what?
Do you know about
I
it?
still have 20 minutes left in the episode. I must have not gotten to that part yet.
Or maybe we've talked about it privately. I can never remember. But the guy got on an airplane. Were you not around?
You mentioned the suicide, that there was a suicide or something with an airplane.
In Seattle, this guy.
But I didn't hear about this.
He hopped in. I don't know if they keep the keys in the dash or what the heck. He takes off.
In a airplane, like commercial airplane?
Yes. And they had to send those escorts and he
you
was talking to air traffic control.
Get out of
I
town.
swear. And he was up there for
but my perfume is a problem. Oh.
Yeah, they're
fuck
worried
off.
about your balsamic vinaigrette.
Yeah, I mean, for real. It was all sealed in every way it could possibly. I mean,
I know.
aged 8 years, man.
I wonder if he had any on his flight. Well, we'll never know because he crashed it. But why would you commit suicide that way? I don't know.
That's awful.
I mean, that seems like a lot of effort.
I did, however, I
What?
hate to say I love it,
What?
but the weather balloon gun story.
Oh my God, it's so funny, right?
The fact that her mind went to the perfect crime is pretty much my favorite thing.
Me too. I listened to that episode and I was like,
Genius.
she's hilarious.
So funny.
Because I was just thinking about the suicide and stuff, and
Right.
she's just like, I can't believe more murderers
Why
aren't
have
doing
nobody thought of this?
all
This
these
is
weapons
genius.
in the air.
Right.
The other thing that
The dolphins are being killed by bullets, not by balloons anymore.
the other genius thing is when vitamins don't taste like hot garbage,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yes.
I mean,
Tell us how to get some of those.
I'm a Ritual lover. Ritual has vitamins that taste like mint, finally, and they're time released, so they don't make you sick, which was always my problem. So I just didn't take vitamins. And so then I was told I was deficient, which so many people are. They lack vitamin D or other things that they don't get through their diet. And Ritual Vitamin solves that problem. It'll fill those gaps that you're missing from your food. And it's super easy subscription-based service. 95% of women don't get the vitamins and minerals they need on a daily basis. That's a lot of people.
Wow.
Ritual created a smarter vitamin with 9 essential ingredients women lack most. Go to ritual.com/braincandy. You can choose clean ingredients backed by science. Sign up now at ritual.com/braincandy. I really love them. I take them every day.
Samesies.
I do want you to tell them the story, though, about some bad things that happened in Italy.
This was one I could not wait to get on here and talk about, as unfortunate as it was. So, let me paint the picture.
Yes.
My husband and I are on this boat for 10 days. I am, in every sense of the word, an introvert who needs time by herself to recharge.
Yeah.
I couldn't get any of that. So it made me real frustrated. So I was like, I want a day where we can just get off the boat and I can just like do my own thing. Give me like an hour, 2 hours, whatever. So we're like walking.
Big mistake.
Huge. So we stop at this port town. It's the first town that we dock at where we're in a marina, not just like off a mooring can, like out where you're like right in the town center,
Oh, okay.
This is more like you're
in the middle of nowhere.
And it's like a port sound. So it's more like where they're doing shipping and it's a shipping yard. And it's not like, it's a good 10 miles to the city center.
Right.
So it's not, you can get to the city center, just hop in a cab or
take the metro.
There's not a lot going on there. Not a lot going on.
You want to be involved with.
But I didn't know that because every single other city we had stopped at in the past 7 days were these great little towns where you just hop right off the boat and you're right in the middle of everything and they're selling all that stuff on the boardwalk right there and they've got the lemon soap. There wasn't any lemon soap to be found where we were.
Yeah.
It was like so we're walking down the
was
street.
This daytime?
Daytime. This is probably like 2:00. Mm-hmm. And it is hot as balls.
Yeah, kind of like it is right now in the studio.
Exactly. Like this. 93 plus degrees outside.
You're in your new linen outfit.
Basically, I'm in this like long flowy dress that has like a deep V and I'm wearing like a bathing suit on underneath.
Yeah.
And then as I was leaving, one of the guys on the boat was like, "Oh, it's really hot out there. Make sure you grab a hat." And so I brought my big hat. So I'm walking down the street in this big hat and this long flowy sundress and like, looking like I'm supposed to be in Capri or the Amalfi Coast, not a port city where I'm walking down the street. And so we're walking down the street, and I'm, like, in a mood now, because I'm like...
I've met that girl.
Yeah. This is the wave of water bottle at somebody mood. And Landon was like, I'm going to stop in here and get a water. And I was like, I'm just going to go off by myself. Like, I'm going to find the metro. I'll meet you back at the boat later. Whatevs. So he's, like, following and can, like, see where I am for a little bit. But then... I get, like, turned around, or I'm following the sign to the city center, but it takes me, it's like the city center, but the traffic way to get there, not the footpath way to get there.
Yes.
So now I'm like, oh, shit, I got to turn around. I think there was a metro back the other way. Like, I take the train. And so I'm turning around. I walk in the other direction. My phone is dead. I have no phone. I don't know where I am, which was my first mistake. Because that's like rule number 1, always know where you're going.
Sure.
And I did not know where I was going. I wasn't familiar with where I was. I don't speak the language. And as I'm walking down the street looking for the what do you call it? The metro, some guy screams, like yells something at me from like maybe like 50 feet away.
From a vehicle or a pedestrian?
He's like pedestrian.
Okay.
And he's like waving me, like flagging me, like, hey, it says something in Italian. So I'm like, oh, what? And then he comes up to me.
Oh my God.
And I'm thinking,
what is he? Is he looking like a nice guy?
He's looking like a guy who maybe doesn't get a lot of female attention, but nice enough.
All right. Normal looking.
And I'm thinking like, in every one of my experiences, Italians are, like, wonderful, and they're so willing to help, and, like, Italians are, like, come in and have...
Warm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll not only, like, give you water, but I'll make you pasta. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking he's, like, notices that I'm lost, and is, like, gonna tell me direction. So he was, like, approaches me, and he's like, hey, I've been watching you walk up and down.
Oh, my God. In
Italian?
Italian?
He first said in Italian something, and I was like,
No.
Non parle italiano.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, oh, okay, and says in English, like, I've been watching you walk up and down here. And I was
my God.
oh, I'm just trying to find the metro. And he's like, well, would you like to get some lunch? Would you like to get...
Oh,
and I
my
said,
God,
no,
he didn't.
I'm actually looking for my husband. And he's like, oh, well, a married lady, I like that even better. And then I was like, well, I'm actually trying to, like...
At what point are you like, this is no bueno?
Right after he said the thing about still liking married women.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
then it felt like more aggressive, and he started getting closer to me. And I was like, well, unless you're going to be pointing me in the direction of the metro, I'm going to be walking in the other direction.
Okay.
And then when I went to go do that, he grabbed my hand, and then I don't even know what I did then. I said, like, I got my hand loose, and then I said, I'm leaving, or like, I'm getting out of here. And then he grabbed and fondled my butt in a way that felt so like, not like a slap on the ass, like he got all up in there. And I was wearing like this flowy dress where it was like I felt all of that. And in that moment, I had fantasized for so long about what I would do if somebody ever tried anything with me.
Yes.
I've got this all played out. I went to the self-defense classes.
Sure.
I was like, I'm going to like karate chop them in the Adam's apple, and then I'm going to poke him in the eyeballs, and then I'm going to kick him in the dick, and then I'm going to twist his balls. I don't know, whatever I had like fantasized. As anybody who's been a victim of survivor of sexual abuse has ever like replayed it and is like, well, next time I'll show them. In that moment, I fucking froze, just like they say. And the only thing I could think to do was slap him. And I didn't even slap him in the face. I slapped him in the like shoulder/neck that almost just looked like playful. Like it wasn't even like, it was like the way I would slap my little brother, because I don't know how to punch. I like can't even bring myself to hit somebody.
Yeah.
And like even in that moment, I was like, this is all I know how to do. I'm just going to slap you. And then I turned and ran and there, luckily there was this like tobacco shop that was right there. So I ran into the tobacco shop, and the woman who was working there was probably around my age and didn't speak any English, but I could like mime what just happened. And I was like, a man followed me, then tried this, and it was, and I was like trying to get a taxi. And so she was so nice. And she was like, can I get you some water? Cause it was obvious that I was really like shooken up, and like, somebody else.
What do you think his intention was at that point?
Well, I will let you know.
What?
So, flash forward. So I get the cab, and I head back to the boat, and I get on the boat, and nobody's there, and everybody else has left. So I charge my phone, and I download there luckily is some like free Wi-Fi in the marina, and I download the WhatsApp app so I can make an international call to Landon and call him, and I tell him what happened, and he's like, I'm on my way back. I just like got to the dock. I'm try to find you, blah blah. And then the other people who were on the boat arrive too, and I tell them what happened, and they tell me that the neighborhood that we were in is a very popular neighborhood for prostitutes. And in Italy, how you tell a woman is a prostitute are tons of tattoos.
No!
Yeah.
You are kidding me.
I'm not kidding. So
that is some bad
gentleman
luck.
I was wearing the wrong costume in the wrong neighborhood.
Oh,
which
my God.
To me was like, oh my God, is this a what was she wearing thing? But it's like,
well,
I was straight up mistaken for an Italian prostitute, and now I can see why. And they were also explaining to me that that's kind of the how it is there. There's this game of like no means yes, and like kind of like a little like slap and tickle kind of
really?
Yeah, where it's like, oh, they almost play hard to get, and that's like a thing. And so he thought that this was just like a part of a game, and at least that made me feel a little better in some weird way.
Right.
But then that night, and how I know this to be true, is that night we left the boat again to go out to dinner, and we're in a cab this time, driving past the same neighborhood. And also, I should have known when I passed two what they called sexy shops on the way to the metro, too.
You were in like the red light district.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, this story does not make you want to travel, maybe, but overall, I'm sure you're glad you had a good vacation in general.
Yeah.
And what can help a great vacation is an away luggage piece.
Oh my gosh, it's something that I could speedily get out of a dangerous situation.
Well, and you could charge your dang phone.
Oh my God, yes. Tell me how.
Away luggage, which is my favorite. I love it. Their carry-on is amazing. And part of why it's amazing is that it has the ability on it to charge your phone or any electronic right there from your bag. It's TSA approved, of course, high quality materials. They have different size bags for your needs. And it's just so, I mean, Sarah's phone is always dead. So really, I mean, there's no excuse for that when you're traveling.
I'm at 89% battery today, so.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And they have free shipping on away orders within the 48 continental U.S. states. And you can get $20 off a suitcase if you visit awaytravel.com/braincandy and use our code braincandy during checkout. That's $20 off a suitcase. Visit awaytravel.com/braincandy and use promo code braincandy during checkout. And my friend Kelly reminded me that I should remind everybody that sometimes people are like in their cars and stuff and can't write down the codes. Mm-hmm. I put them on our website, thebraincandypodcast.com, so that if you want to look later, you can see what codes are and what the offers are. But anyway, so like, how do you recover from something? Even if you think like it was a misunderstanding, which is helpful, but still you went through a painful thing.
And when we drove through that neighborhood that night, the street was lined with ladies who looked like just like me in shorter shorts. And,
shut up.
Yeah. Like covered in tattoos.
Well, so what would you do differently besides not go to a red light district? Like if you're being attacked.
Okay. Oh, God. That was what, like, the actual event wasn't as traumatic as the feelings that I had afterwards because
regret.
It was regret and this feeling of guilt. It's almost like, we talk in therapy a lot about the feelings about the feelings.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's like your feelings are one thing. They're like the secondary emotion.
Yeah.
But the primary emotion that's underneath that, or like the feelings about the feelings that you're having, can be more painful than the actual surface level feeling.
Yeah.
So I was feeling guilty for feeling victimized, for feeling like all of the things and the awareness of what happens after somebody is and I would classify that as sexual assault.
It is
he
sexual
touched
assault.
me, and so that's sexual assault, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. In my mind, I was like, was it like sexual harassment? No, that's just words. That was sexual assault. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about that video of the guy who slapped the girl in the ass and she took him down and beat him up and all that. And I was like, damn, I didn't do any of that. I could have been a video.
Well, you were at a real disadvantage, though.
Totally.
Because you were in an unfamiliar environment and you didn't speak the language.
Yep.
So that's two huge things.
And he could have maybe his first words were like, in Italian would have been something that would have told me that he thought I was a prostitute, but since there was a language barrier, I did not pick that up. And I was like, he's asking for helping me with directions.
Right.
So if I could go back and do it again, I would almost not do anything different as far as my actions because I don't think that I could. I think that something comes over you in those moments where the way you react is just the way you react, but I think I would have had more compassion and forgiveness for myself for how I felt afterwards and would have been more gentle on myself and said, like, when I remember when my grandma passed away, I understood all the stages of grief. So in some way in my mind, I thought I was almost immune to grief because I was like, well, I get it conceptually, so it probably won't happen.
It's totally different.
Totally different. And that's how I felt about what happened after you're sexually assaulted is like, I understand the process of what a victim goes through. So that probably won't happen to me. And then when it did, I was like, oh, this feels awful.
That is terrible. Yeah. And I am so glad that it wasn't worse.
Dude, me too, Suze. Because in my mind, and then the other regret I have is like, this is like sometimes people do this. I'm like, getting into it with my husband and I'm like huffing and puffing as I'm walking down the street. And I'm like, in my mind, I was like, you know what? He's not going to stay. Like, I hope somebody does do something to me. I hope I do get mugged. And I hope then maybe he'll like, care or whatever. And I freaking got exactly what I was asking for. And it was
But I mean, we all have those thoughts.
Yeah, we do. We're like, oh, well, you know what? If I got in a car accident on the way home, then you would be,
that'll
be
teach
sorry.
you.
Yeah. Like, so that was like the thing. I was like, that was so dumb of me to think like that. And it just, it's the feelings about the feelings that freaking suck.
Yeah. And I totally relate to that idea of regret.
Yep.
Whenever I have that feel, like anytime you think, even if it's just like dropping a glass or something and you want to go back 5 minutes and just redo, that's a terrible feeling. So especially when, and then the what ifs are horrifying.
Horrifying.
That's terrible too.
Because I'm like, this guy told, like, he's like, there's my car right there. And like, what if he were more aggressive? And
did you
would have
see his car?
Yeah, would have taken me into the car. Or like he could have easily pulled me if he were a little more aggressive or wanted, he could have done, we were in a place where he could have easily pulled me into any alleyway. And, dude, I just fantasized. And I thought for some reason that, like, I think that a big reason why I got a bunch of tattoos was almost like as like a coat of armor to be like, I look tough, so I'm probably not going to get stopped because I don't look like one of those wussy girls who's a victim.
Yeah.
I look like tough and you wouldn't want to come near me. And the truth is, like, that, like, how silly of me to think that tattoos are going to prevent me.
Well, I mean, signaling does matter.
It does.
But unfortunately...
And I was walking like how my mom has always trained me to walk, which is like big swinging arms, walk like you know where you're going. There must have been just a moment where I just didn't, do that.
Well, I'm proud of you for what you did do.
Yeah,
you slapped his face or what?
No, shouldery area.
It's all shouldery.
Shoulder. I wish I could just go back and do different. Then I would. Karate chop his Adam's apple.
Maybe next time. Like, cover up those tattoos.
I know. That was like, if I have any advice, if you're visiting a port town in Italy, just like, do some research, Sarah. Like, I don't know what is the attire of prostitutes, so I do not get confused about
you'd think that would be an international language there.
You would, but, and you know what? The attire was. It was very, like, but the tattoos were, maybe it is, and maybe I just, like, I don't know. And then when because before I knew it was, before I knew the whole prostitute thing and how they have a lot of tattoos and that could be what was happening here, I really genuinely thought this guy, like, when he approached me like that and was hitting on me in that way, I thought he was just genuinely hitting on me. And in my mind, I was like, does this troll think he has a chance with me? Has he seen me?
I'm out of your league,
like,
sir.
I'm, like, way out of this dude's league. And then when the guys in the boat were like, you look like an Italian prostitute, I was like, oh, that's why he thought he had a chance with me.
Right.
Because in real life, that dude with his receding hairline, his cul-de-sac hair.
Oh, now she's given a descriptor.
Yeah.
Before she was like, he looked normal.
Well, I mean, like, normal as far as, like,
a man.
He looked
like a man.
He looked like a man. He had a cul-de-sac, bald spot.
Well, when I was reading before about, or when we were talking about the charging your phone thing, I remember, do you mind if I change the subject?
Oh, please do.
I remembered this thing that was on Twitter the other day about how apparently there's these stickers that you can buy that they look 3D and they look like plug outlets.
Oh my
and people
God.
are putting them in airports.
That's so funny.
And then just watching people get furious.
That is
Cruel.
right up there with people who glue quarters to the ground.
Who does that?
A character from Empire Records, and it's the funniest thing ever to watch people go try. Because a quarter, you're going to pass a penny, but you ain't passing up a quarter.
True. I would pick up a quarter.
And then how many times did you try to pick it up
lot.
before? Right?
A lot.
Hilarious. So a plug. Oh, that's funny.
And so, like, there'll be pictures on Twitter of people, like, getting mad about it. And, like, if you're the one that put the sticker there, you could sit there all day and watch people
All day.
try to plug in their phone or whatever.
That would bring me so much joy.
But
I don't know why.
it is so mean, though.
But is it really that mean? It's mean. It ruins the person's day for like 2 seconds. And if you're the kind of asshole who lets a fake plug destroy your afternoon,
right,
you deserve that prank.
But what? But if you really needed it, like you do at an airport,
fucking get your away bag and stop complaining.
Well, yeah. But, like, somebody posted a picture of them, like, trying to do it and being like, fuck the person that put this sticker up. But they were, those big, like, Apple plugs that are, like, rectangular?
Yeah.
They were trying to do the top plug, and someone replied, like, fuck you for trying to take up the whole outlet by putting that giant thing in the top one.
Oh, my gosh. That's what I feel about anybody who uses, like, if you have the strip, and you go middle strip with one of those, how dare you?
Fuck you. How dare you? You knew there were so many plug courtesies, but there are.
There are. And I feel like when those airports, there was a time where the airports, there was like a changeover where they were like, oh my God, people need outlets.
Yeah.
We're going to add them. But then none of them worked. It's like they didn't flip the switch on. So it's like they had them all out there and it was like a tease. So the airports themselves were playing this cruel game, but they actually had an outlet. But I remember being at an airport and literally trying like 25 outlets going, nope, 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 nope. None of them worked. Like, this is a cruel, cruel joke. So there you go.
Well, it's not a cruel joke is when you get that FabFitFun box at your door.
Ooh, that's the opposite of a joke. That's like ha-ha, but fun.
It's not cruel at all. The FabFitFun fall box is here,
Ooh,
people.
Last time it was a great scarf in there.
Lots of good stuff. Lots of full-size items. It's a seasonal subscription box delivered 4 times a year with full-size fashion, beauty, home, fitness, and wellness products for just $49.99 a box. And as you know, I always get excited. Last time in my box was that exfoliating.
Yeah, I got it too.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Love that.
It was called the
Foreo.
Foreo. Yeah, and that was really cool.
I'm seeing that everywhere in magazines now too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the fall box is going to be the same. It's going to have some people will get a tote. Some people will get a 6-piece brush set, which I always get excited about brushes. And the total retail value of the fall box is over $275, up to $403, depending on the selection. Yeah. But every box includes a sheet mask, a beauty blender, stuff you love.
A beauty blender.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
Can't find
Get
one.
excited, people. Sign up for FabFitFun today to get your fall box. The FabFitFun fall box is in limited supply, though, and they always sell out. Use our code BRAINCANDY to get $10 off your first box. Go to fabfitfun.com to sign up and start getting the box for a life well lived. Use promo code BRAINCANDY to get $10 off your first box. That's over $200 for only $39.99. Go to fabfitfun.com and use our code BRAINCANDY to get $10 off your FabFitFun box.
Speaking of boxes, you and your sister did not make nearly enough trimming the bush jokes when you talked about.
Oh my God.
I was like, somebody make a trimming the bush joke. Somebody.
It's like
Is
on
it
The
implied?
Office whenever they won't let Michael say, that's what she
Yeah,
said.
right.
Like
That's
you're
exactly-
dying over there.
I'm like, please, please.
I did feel like it was implied because we did keep laughing. Yeah, that lady. I mean, I have to show you a picture.
I know, I can't wait to
because
see. And Gretch is right. He's in love with Gloria. Avi, come on.
Did you guys listen to that episode? Because
you have to.
Gretchen,
It's so
it was a
funny.
real treat. I missed Sarah, but it was really fun to sit down with Gret too, because sister.
I'm just excited because I still have like 20 minutes left of the episode, and I'm like,
Aww.
I get more.
Oh my God, right? I've missed you, and I mean, all these stories.
Yeah, man.
Not all good.
Oh my
though.
God!
What?
Guess what I saw? IRL. It totally exists. Remember? Okay.
IRL.
What is my favorite
I'm dying.
subject to have ridiculous facts about? One thing. This thing that I know a weird amount of knowledge of, and you're like, why does she bring this up?
God, let me think. I genuinely don't know.
It's lobsters.
What do you mean, though?
Remember how I'm going to tell you why.
No, what do
this
you
is-
mean that you're some sort of lobster? Oh, because you said they don't die
They
one
don't
time.
die. That 1 in 2 million of them are blue.
Okay, yep, that's
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fine. Just carry on.
But you'd have to press play.
I already did.
So yes.
I paused it for a second so I could think, and I still couldn't come up with it. So that's why she's like, "You have to,
I was like, you have to press play. But I want to tell people about this, not just you, Susie. So, like I have told you before, that 1 in 2 million lobsters are blue.
Yeah, why are you yelling?
I went to a restaurant that sold blue lobster
that's
as an
awesome.
option.
That's awesome.
I was like,
You did order it.
no, because I was like, Landon was like, you don't want to order it, do you? Because you feel like it's taking away from the percentage of them that are on the planet, don't you? And I'm like, yes, how did you know?
Are you kidding
I
me?
took pictures, though.
Oh, okay, that's
Because,
cool.
come on, I had to. But
What color blue?
it's interesting because it's not what you'd expect. And I think that this was like they could probably be a range of blue, and like the really blue ones are more rare, but it's almost like a bluish purple.
Oh.
But I was like, oh my God.
I can't believe you didn't order it. I'm
In real
actually
life.
mad.
And it was really expensive. That's also why.
How
it was
much?
120 euro per kilogram.
Oh my God.
Like, right?
Kilo.
Kilo.
Yeah.
Kilo.
Kilogram, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's, expensive. And
Wonder if it tastes the same though.
I do too, but I couldn't bring myself to eat it. And the seat that they sat us at,
You could see them like walking around or what?
we were if we were both dining, we would hit claws.
Stop it.
He was in the tank, like the tank sat next to my chair, and I could put my hand on the tank and be like, "Hello, little friend."
Oh my God.
And so I just took
and he would
tons
like
of
put
pictures.
up his claw.
Yeah, and he was like, "Don't eat me."
Was he big?
They were small, like probably about
I wonder
8
if
or
blue
9
ones
inches
usually
long.
are small.
I'm thinking they're just so rare that they pluck them up real quick, and
Yeah.
and maybe there's like an area where because it's a genetic mutation, so it's implied that if it's a genetic mutation, that there's probably an area where there are more of them, or there's two that
Sure.
you can breed them, or whatever it is. I don't know how it works with blue
They
lobsters.
should breed them.
Right. So I think that's what they did, which is why they're less blue than one that would be like,
In the ocean.
But they did have other lobsters there that were huge. The biggest ones I've ever seen.
Wow.
Enormous.
Do they have a different name like king lobster, you know?
Nah, I didn't look.
Like king crab.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think it's so funny though that you consider yourself like a lobster expert.
I do, because I know like 2 facts.
And then you're like, Suze, what do I know tons about? I mean, like that narrows it down.
I was really thinking that you'd come up with that one quick.
No. I mean, admittedly, you do know a lot
I
about
do feel like in another episode you said, why do you know so much about lobsters?
Right.
Which is the only reason why I said, Suze, what is that thing I know way too much about?
then when we had the episode where you talked about how they are immortal.
They are.
Dahlia obviously listens to the show, our assistant, and she said she went out to her mom and was like, "Did you know that lobsters are basically immortal?" And her mom was like, "Have you been listening to the Break podcast?" Which, makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, I'm still not buying that. Mm-hmm. Because that's not a thing even.
Okay.
That is not a thing!
It is a thing. They are always in a state of sexual maturity. They never are out of... The only thing that starts us dying is basically losing the ability to procreate. Like the same way, like that's why, you basically start dying when you're like 26, because like once you've reached sexual maturity, everything else after, like not sexual maturity, but like based fertility.
Yeah.
Everything else is just...
Oh my God. What now?
Well, I was just thinking back to that article that we both read about the dating thing that you talked about, with how at 18 is when we peak. Oh my God, was that depressing to read?
Oh my God.
The whole thing, I was like, well, this sucks, and the internet is awful.
Yes. That article was
Old ladies are fucked.
It was...
Not actually literally, just figuratively. It's all awful.
That article was in the Atlantic, and we talked about how women peak at 18 and then it's down from there, whereas men peak at 50 and it's really not much change at all in their life. And then it reminded me of Nanette, which you thankfully watched before you went to Italy, and how she said, no woman peaks at 18. Stop wasting my time.
Right.
And I was like, at church.
Yeah.
I mean, because that is the damn truth. And what about...
Oh, come on. Could you think about yourself at 18?
Yeah, I don't have to watch it on VHS.
Oh, that's true. I feel like I was so far away from my peak at 18. Like, I was basically needy and desperate at 8. And
I didn't even look my best.
Me neither. In fact, I looked my worst at 18. I was knee deep in Tuesday's Sacrifice.
That's hilarious. Well, do you know about how Dane Cook is dating a 19-year-old and he's 46?
Shut up.
Mm-hmm. And he
Okay, well, he's disgusting. Freaking pervy weirdo.
And somebody tweeted out, because he posted on Instagram the old age is nothing but a number. And that would be a lot more believable when you start dating 70-year-olds, Dane.
Right.
Like, it's nothing but if it's just a number, then why is it only 25-year-old younger than you, 25 years younger than you, that you are willing to date? Same goes for Leonardo DiCaprio and his revolving door of...
Who's just like Jack Nicholson.
So, like, it isn't just a number.
No, it's just a hot piece of ass.
But it's gross, man. Like, I'm not saying it
they're
can
not
never
fulfilled.
be legit. I think that sometimes it's legitimate and then whatever. But, like, by and large, this is something that grosses me out.
Yeah. Well, and to me, what you're depriving yourself of if you're a man who chooses to date that is real companionship.
Right.
Because what on earth does a 49-year-old, or 46, potato, what does he say? How do you connect with have you ever hung out with 19-year-olds?
But I think
like
maybe
they're
it's
speaking
true.
another language.
Maybe it's true in his case because he might be really immature. And
that's a good point.
And that is, you need to work on that.
But there's still like, if you're laughing about, like you and I can talk about TV shows from when we were growing up, and there's like some overlap, and it's like cool. We can
Shared
laugh about the same
experiences.
things. And could you imagine if like one of you grew up on, Cheers, and the other one grew up on, I don't know, whatever.
Miley Cyrus.
Miley
whatever the hell
Cyrus.
that show
Yeah.
was.
Yes. Totally. It's like that. It's like that doesn't.
And you know how when you're young you make all those financial mistakes.
Like my leopard print credit card that I thought was a good idea with 23% interest rate. Yeah, I'm familiar with those dumb financial mistakes. How do I fix that?
If you've ever looked at your credit card statement and probably been shocked by the interest rate, then you understand. But there's a way that you can actually roll all your credit card debt into one monthly payment at a lower fixed interest rate. I've had listeners who've done this. I've had a family member who did it and got a way lower rate by using Lightstream. They offer a credit card consolidation loan from 5.89% APR with autopay, which is lower than the average credit card interest rate of over 18%. You can get a loan between $5,000 and $100,000 as soon as the day you apply, and you just go on their website, and it's super easy. And it doesn't take a lot of like paperwork and stuff. And fun fact, Lightstream plants a tree with every loan they fund.
No.
Yes. And our listeners
Oh my God, I love that.
I do too. We're real suckers for those things.
Yes,
It's so
because
nice.
that's all it takes. Companies just do those little things.
Our listeners get a special discount on top of Lightstream's already low rates. The only way to get this discount is to go to lightstream.com/braincandy, lightstream.com/braincandy. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes a 0.50% autopay discount. Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/braincandy for more info. Okay, wait. I did want to talk more about the dating thing because in that article, you mentioned earlier about how you were out of that guy's league.
Oh, yep.
And it talks about that in the article.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it says how people always shoot for about 25% out of their league.
Yep.
And that can mean different things, like maybe looks, or it could mean other things like power and finances, like when you're out in the real world.
Yeah.
But this was on dating sites, they were saying, which usually is about looks.
Yeah.
And that I thought it was so interesting. It was a really long article, and it had a lot of stuff. Like I kept wanting to write more things down.
How about how intelligence is looked at as a negative? If you have anything over a undergraduate degree and you're a female,
Right. Only for females.
Only for females.
Yeah.
It counts against you.
Yeah.
And here I was bragging about this on my Match.com profile like I'm a smarty pants. Meanwhile, it was preventing me from dates.
Isn't that a shame?
A shame.
And
that's gross. We have to lie to make ourselves dumber.
When people ask, like, I thought it was interesting when you ask somebody what they desire, they say, what are those? Let me see if I have it written down. There were 3 things. I think it was intelligence, kindness, and there was one more that was like a virtue.
Humor?
No, believe it or not, because that's what I thought.
I would think that. But it's the one thing you can't judge off that. I guess maybe through some funny stuff that they would say in their profile or like how they talk. But it's hard to judge humor.
Yeah. But the truth is we really just desire someone that's hot. Like men and women prefer that. And men prefer it more, but we're both guilty of it. And I thought it was interesting. It said 80% of first contact is made by men, and women only respond to like less than 20%.
Yeah.
And so they were encouraging men to just like, it's a numbers game. Just be persistent.
It seems like that when I was on there that they were playing that game.
What would they do?
Oh my God, I would open it up and I would have like, especially when you first get on there and they're like, ooh, new fresh meat. And there's just 100 messages in your inbox and they're all one sentence long. That was the other thing I thought was interesting. And they said it's not about the content, about the length of message.
Oh yeah.
And
that actually shorter ones were better.
Yeah.
You're right.
Isn't that weird?
Yes.
Because those are all the ones that I ignored. And they said even people who put in time and effort, it almost was like a waste to put in time and effort to say a lot of these things.
And now I'm realizing that I'm combining two articles in the Atlantic. There was that one, and then there was another one, and the virtues were kindness, exciting personality, and intelligence is what people say they want.
Yeah, they don't want that.
They don't want that. And people lie.
Oh, my God. That is like... Intelligence, kindness, and exciting personality. I'd say those are three of my best traits.
They are. I was thinking that as I wrote it. I'm like, that sounds like Sarah. But luckily, you're also hot, so it's like fine.
Well, thanks.
But like, it said what people in this separate article.
I can't do anything else. Like I forget to return phone calls. I barely remember to tie my own shoes. But I got the kindness down.
And they said that people, they want someone similar with regards to religion and like how you spend your money, like if you're thrifty or not. But with income and beauty, more always is more. So if you're ugly, you don't care. You still want the hot person. Yeah. And that's unlike religion and thriftiness in that sense. Like sameness is valued in those traits, whereas it doesn't matter with attractiveness. Yes. No matter how ugly you are, you want a hot person. Yeah. Which I think is a little bit
what's interesting
weird.
is like, because, when I remember back in my undergraduate, I don't remember what class it was where we discussed this, but they said that people usually choose a mate that's within 1 to 2 points on a 1 to 10 scale away from them. And they are usually attracted to somebody. And I wonder if that is actually true. If maybe that's what we settle for, but the true attraction is still to that 10. Like you can't tell me that a 2 is who's a 2? A 4 is more attracted
who's a 2?
To. Well, I feel like everybody's got something.
You think everyone's average?
I think everybody's at least hilarious. A 4 or higher.
That's like the most Sarah logic I've ever heard. Nobody's a 1.
There are no 1s.
Okay, but it put that into terms of like with regards to hotness, nobody wants a match. They want a jackpot.
Yeah.
And that made me sad.
Yeah, it makes me sad too.
Because I want a jackpot with like friends, like how you get along.
Yeah. That's I would totally, and I feel like especially, I look at the guys that I've dated, and yes, a lot of them are very attractive.
Sure.
But I've also dated guys who are not and it's like fine because I don't really care. And there's other stuff that they bring to the table that are like awesome.
And usually they're super grateful.
And really good in bed.
They make up
nobody
for it.
Gives an orgasm like a guy who's not as attractive as you.
Yeah, it's so true.
The best.
Right.
It's like guys should get with girls who are a little bit like, give them a chance at least.
Well, that's the thing though, is that like what we maybe intellectually would say isn't truly what we end up doing.
Right.
Even though we might think that about theirs. And that's why self-reporting is so unreliable with these studies.
And I heard this, I thought this, I'm sure I've said this on here before, but one of my favorite things or sayings when it comes to dating is that in the first 6 months to a year, you never meet the real person, you meet their representative.
Oh my God. How long? 6 months to a year?
Or it could be shorter for some people, but often you don't really know who the person really is until 6 months down the road.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, come on. Like, think about
I can't keep it up that long.
You're just the representative. You're like on your best behavior. You're like talking about, you're like highlighting. I mean, it's especially in the first few dates But
True,
I
but
think
I feel like we have a shorter ability
I definitely
to
do. You're going to see the real me after about the 5th date.
What would you do on a 5th date that you wouldn't do on a first date?
Ooh,
Like, is it you would burp or something?
oh no, I would never.
Oh, okay. I've never. Oh, you burp under your breath, but I've never heard you like let one rip.
No, I can't do that. And I didn't even like pass gas in front of my husband until like I can't even say the F word. Fart. There, I said it. Oh my god. Sorry, Linda.
Right, we're not into that over here.
Yeah. I'm not into that.
No.
It doesn't seem to go both ways in my relationship.
Well, but that's the difference between us, is because I'm not
You're
into
not
it.
standing it for it.
No way.
No.
If Adam was over there tooting.
Landon says that that's one of the highlights of marriage, is that there's now the freedom to do that.
And he wouldn't care if you did or what? Because if it's a highlight, then you ought to try it.
The 2 times that I have, he definitely was not okay with it. Or like not okay,
He was
but was like,
disgusted.
That smells terrible.
Did
and
it
I was like,
slip
yeah, because
out
we
or
hold
what?
them in forever. And so what do you think? It like percolates.
Did it slip out those 2 times?
Yeah, probably. It wasn't intentional.
Okay.
It was like a slip.
And he was disgusted by it.
And it wasn't like we ignored the fart.
Right. Gotcha.
So
Okay, well.
of course, I don't ignore his either. It's usually an eye roll or a...
That's it?
Because what am I going to do? I'm fighting a losing battle for the last 8 years.
I'm instilling it in my child, too. I'm letting
should.
him know we are not that family.
We are not that. You should not be that.
There's a place for that. It's called the toilet.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
And I always say that it's gross to me because I imagine poo particles.
Of course.
Right.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Have you ever sharted?
No.
Remember when Al Roker did in the White House?
No? Tell me about that.
I don't know too much more than what I just shared, but he was on a tour during the Obama years, and
It makes my butt clench just thinking
he
about it.
sharted and was like,
Well,
"Rot-row."
see, that's what happens when you just let them rip. When you're all loosey-goosey with the farts, I don't know what I'm working with here. I got to hold everyone in to
Safety first.
yes. So that's sometimes I'm like, Landon, check yourself. There had to be. There's no way that was just air.
Well, whether you're dating or not, you should, work on your skin. Make it nice.
Yes.
For yourself, not for your partner. Yes. And the way we do that is BioClarity, as you know. I found out that the Brain Candy Crush uses that as one of the questions, like what skincare product do they love? As like, if you don't know it, you don't get in the group because you have to know it by now.
Yeah, you have to. I need more face wash. I have to order.
Okay, order the Clear Skin Routine or the Essentials Routine, depending on what you have cooking. And you can also get clarifying masks or the hydrating masks, which people are really
I love
embracing.
The hydrating mask. It really is amazing. You glow afterwards.
It's the Glow Getter, and BioClarity is delivered straight to you. It's a 3-step skincare routine that's 100% vegan, plus gluten and cruelty-free. You can get started on healthier habits with your skincare, as you know that I have, and I love it. Just go to bioclarity.com. Our listeners get the first month for 50% off a routine, plus shipping is free. And it comes with a 100% risk-free money-back guarantee, but you need to enter our code BRAINCANDY. That's bioclarity.com and enter our code BRAINCANDY. And now I would like to introduce a guest.
Woo!
She is the author of a very popular book called The Intermission. Alyssa, no, I said it wrong. I always say it wrong. I think it's Elisa. Mm-hmm. And it's Elisa Friedland. And when I was like, "Hi, Elisa, it's Susie from Brain Candy calling," she told me.
Corrected
yeah,
you.
and I was like, ugh. I hate that. But it's a wonderful book. It's a novel about a married couple who is going through some stuff and decides to take an intermission. Oh. And you get to hear what's cool is she does the male point of view.
This is cool. I love it.
And the woman's
That's
point of view. Yeah. And so you hear like the differences between how they see the situation. And it's a really fun and interesting book, whether you're in a relationship or not. And I talked to her about what it's like writing as a man character and as a woman character, and then also just the idea of chick lit and how sometimes it's not respected in the literary community, like books about marriage.
Chick literature.
Yeah.
I love that term.
Yeah, but it doesn't always get respect.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find out, like, if she's experienced that or not.
Same with movies like that.
Yeah.
And then we know that they're blowing out the box office.
Right, and so, like
Ocean's
8. Yes.
Crushed it.
Right. And
We
Wonder
love it.
Woman and all that
Yes.
stuff.
Give
But they're
me
not
the
considered
chicklet.
high art,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But if a man writes a book about marriage, she's getting mad over there.
Oh, Lord.
So I wanted to know, like, has that been your experience or is this all hype or whatever? So, and you can enjoy that interview. Welcome to the show. And don't forget to read the intermission. All right. First of all, ma'am, congratulations. This book is freaking awesome. I loved it.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for our listeners to read it and for then me have tons of people to talk to about it. But for now, you're stuck with me talking to you about it. Tell me what it's like now that it's out in the world and people are consuming your book.
It's exciting. It's weird and exciting at the same time. I mean, people ask really personal questions, as they should, but I think because it's about a marriage and I decided to put a marriage book out there, I definitely get a lot of, how does your husband feel about this? And how has this affected your own marriage? And it's just based on personal experience. So that's hard. I'm not shocked because I would be asking the same questions as a reader, but it's also, it can be a little unsettling, you know? By the same token, just having it out in the world is exciting because I get to hear people's favorite parts. I get to have people have questions. Why did I choose this, that, or the other? And, you know, it's like been my baby for so long that to have it out in the world and have people discussing it, it just feels surreal.
Do you feel like that question about, you know, your personal life and then the reflections in the book is gendered? Like, do you think they would do that to a male author?
It's a great question. I think they would. I think that marriage, anyone who's married and writes a married book, man or woman, I think would get asked that question. I think it's also my demeanor. I'm a very like open, warm, give me a hug kind of a person. Yeah. So it sort of breaks down like a barrier between me and the reader. So I'm not, when I go to a reading or a book club, like I'm not a very stiff person.
Yeah.
So I think it has less to do with being a woman and just more to do with the fact that I am very casual with people and joke around a lot. So they don't always feel awkward about like going there with the hard questions. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay. That does, that's a great thing though, but not for you if you have to endure like all this personal stuff.
Right. But I just can't like change my demeanor, you know, you are who you are. Yeah.
Okay. So this is you had this debut novel, Love and Miscommunication, that was, you know, everyone loved it and you're fancy and everyone's just singing your praises. And then do you feel like, holy smokes, I don't know how I feel about doing number 2, or are you just like, all right, riding the wave?
It wasn't so much. I mean, I really wanted to do it because I love this job and I just want to do it forever and ever. I think I have the best career for me. It exactly suits my skill set and what I enjoy. It was just really waiting for inspiration. With my first book, I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to talk about, which was like everybody's obsession with their phone and how people can really feel bad about themselves by going on social media all the time. Yeah. Like that was definitely the message of my first book, and how if you're in an unstable, uncertain place in your life, it's just that much worse to go online and see how, you know, everyone is doing so amazing but you. Obviously it's fake, but you know, it still hurts in the moment when you see everybody's fabulous lives. And then for a second book, I wanted a topic that was like equally compelling, that I was as excited about. And it took time. I mean, there were 3 years in between my 2 novels, and that's no accident. I mean, yes, I was busy. I have 3 little kids. Yeah. But it also just came from really wanting, you know, a strong idea, and marriage really hit me. And I was like, I really want to write about marriage. It's so fascinating. I'm so intrigued by the concept of monogamy, have been inspired by Esther Perel and what she has to say on the subject, and felt like marriage is the next topic that can get me excited and really get the creative juices flowing. So once I decided marriage, then it was just a question of like creating the characters and what's my particular story going to be. But I didn't really worry if people would like the book as much as the first one, because like it's so out of my control, really.
Yeah,
you know?
I was going to ask you is if, having gone through it before, if you learned something about the way that books can be received or anything about that.
I've learned that, you know, you really have to have a thick skin, which I luckily pretty much do. Not everything's for everyone. And two very intelligent, you know, well-read people can have very different opinions about a book, and everybody comes to it with their own life experience and their own biases. So, you know, it's like going to see a play. I mean, I go with a friend, I walk out and I went to see Mean Girls with friends. I thought it was amazing. I was so impressed with the way that they adapted that into a Broadway show. My two friends thought it was boring and wanted to leave at intermission.
Wow.
They're really bright girls and they see a lot of shows. We just had a difference of opinion, and books are no different. And so, you know, one or two negative reviews, if you go on Goodreads, people can be cruel because there's also a lot of anonymity online, and you kind of want to write back like, okay, but like you try to write a book, you know?
Right.
You can't.
Right. That would drive me nuts. Do you have to, like, do you feel like you have to read them, or is it part of the deal where you need to know what people are saying?
I don't read them anymore. In the beginning, like before it came out, there were advanced copies floating around, and I went on Goodreads all the time. It was also to see if there was buzz around my book, how many people had put it on their to be read list, and, you know, what people were saying. But now that it's out, it really is out of my control. I don't go on anymore because you read enough reviews to see that there's really, I wouldn't do anything differently. I don't write the books for the reviews. So if I were to say, oh, but Cass wasn't likable enough, you know, well, I didn't try to write a likable character. So, you know,
it's interesting how, given the story of your first book, that then there's this author-specific sort of social media thing that you can do where you can read what people are saying about you and your book, and how consuming that can be if you let it.
Exactly. I think it would just be crippling if I read every review and you don't have any idea who the people are.
Yeah.
So this could be like a complete lunatic writing it. It could be a brilliant English teacher, but you have absolutely no way to know. So I don't really spend my time with that. And I don't want to, you know, if 20 people said, oh, she should have done this, but where does that get me? You know?
True.
So I don't get involved.
Well, the good news is everything that I've read is so glowing and positive, and I love the book too. And so you know, as I said, it's so exciting to me that you've written it, because you did such a wonderful job of making these characters complicated in the way that real people are, and unpacking the weirdness that is marriage, and how, as you know, show, sometimes the people we're closest to are not necessarily as informed about who we are as they might otherwise be. And I was curious what I don't know, as you wrote it, how you felt about the idea of secrets in relationships.
I think that there are different kinds of secrets, obviously. There's affairs, there's like a tricky mother-in-law, and maybe you know, keep your opinion to yourself, or you have a little disagreement, you don't tell your spouse about it, or this and that. There's all different kinds of secrets, and they are of different magnitude. I've known couples where the wife or the husband really doesn't like the mother-in-law, and so they like secretly talk to their mother when their partner's not around, you know? I think that's like kind of a harmless secret, you know? But affairs are of a totally different magnitude. There are times where I honestly believe if you have a one-night stand, you're better off keeping it a secret. I believe that, and I'm not afraid to put it out there that I believe that. You know, if you are under the influence of alcohol or something else and you make a big mistake, I'm not entirely sure you're helping anyone but yourself by coming clean. Right. If that makes sense.
Yes. I've always felt like that. These people that have these grand, like, I want to get this off my chest, but then it hurts the other person so badly, and only one feels better is the person that's
right. If you're on a business trip and you have a one-night stand with someone whose phone number you don't even have, and you're never seeing them again, I really don't see, unless you're unhappy in your marriage and there's bigger issues. But if you make a big mistake and you just want to make yourself feel better, I don't understand telling. So I think that there are secrets that are worth keeping. What I wanted to make the point specifically in my book is that some secrets are small, but they turn into bigger secrets the longer that they're kept secret. Right. And so I think in the book where, you know, Cass feels bad about the way that she sort of, you know, met Jonathan, and it didn't go the way, I don't want to give too much away, but it's not the way he thinks it is. I think that had she told him on date 5, oh, just so you know, this is how we really met.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh, really? That's crazy. That's funny, you know? But when years go by, when is the appropriate time to be like, honey, I need to tell you something that happened 8 years ago, you know?
Right. And then it's like cumulative over time.
It snowballs.
Yeah.
And I think that this can happen a lot. I was talking about this with my husband about, you know, how many partners somebody has had before. And so you might want to lie for in either direction. Like a person might want to amplify the number because really like they were timid and they didn't come out of their shell until they were older, but they're a little embarrassed about it. So maybe they've only slept with one person before or nobody before, or they've had like a very full past and they're embarrassed and they want to limit it. And then so, you know, you're on your date and you say, oh, I've only slept with one person, or I've slept with 12 people before. And then at what point into the relationship, 3, 4, 8 months later, do you say, remember on the first date when you and I were having that drunken talk about how many people we've been with? I actually lied about that, you know?
Yeah.
Then the person doubts other things you've said. And so I think that over time, small things can turn into big things. And that's when they get complicated, extra complicated.
Yeah. But that's what is so great about the book is that everybody's relationship is complicated. And this is the story of one couple that's dealing with something really complicated, but everybody has stuff.
Everybody has stuff.
Yeah. And I get annoyed like when people imply that books about marriage are for women. And I want to encourage my listeners to read it, men and women. I think it's such a great way that you develop the story by sharing both sides, and that husbands and wives can relate, or boyfriends and girlfriends, or whatever. And I just feel like that's so important. And I was wondering if you're getting feedback on that.
People are definitely appreciative that I shared both sides, although I do get questions like, what sort of made you think you could write The Man?
What?
And, you know, they didn't necessarily read the book yet. I think once they read the book, they will feel confident that I captured the male voice well. I certainly had male editors read it over. I had my own husband read it over many times and help me tweak. That's really not how I think. That's not really sure that detail would get observed the way you've captured it. And it was helpful. But I mean, I'm a writer for a reason. I like to think of myself as a particularly observant person that picks up a lot of what goes on around me, including from men. So for me, it was like a non-starter to just write only Cass's view of the marriage, because this book is all about everything that happens to them and how they both see it differently.
When you would get feedback from men, did you learn anything about the way that men think that you could provide the women out there?
I think, there was like little things. I mean, frankly, well, I guess there were little and big things. I'll start with a little one. I mean, a male editor would say something like, no straight guy is like, she wore a linen jumpsuit. Okay. We don't know what a jumpsuit is. We have no idea what a jumpsuit is. And even if we know what linen is, we're not noticing that it's linen, you know? You would say something like the color, like we would notice it was black or white or pink or whatever. And like, you know, she was wearing some black pants type thing with a top attached, you know? I mean, that's the way a man sees it. I remember I dated a guy very seriously when I was about 21, a really smart guy that I went to Yale with. And he actually did not know the difference between a dress and a skirt. He thought that a dress was a fancy version of a skirt. Come on. I swear, he only had brothers, and he was like a dress. I was like, I don't feel like wearing a skirt. I think I'm going to wear a dress. And he was like, what's the difference? He's like, it's not that fancy. And I was like, what does fancy have to do with it? And he was like, well, like a dress is like a fancier version of a skirt, right?
Love that.
I was like, no, actually, it's not. It's a totally different article of clothing.
Wow. Okay, this is informative. I appreciate it.
So that was helpful, those kind of little comments. But also, like, in that, I hate to generalize, but, you know, like, I do think men have a more gestalt view. So, like, while a husband and wife might have an argument and the wife sort of stalks away and wonders, like, what is driving his behavior? What is driving this aggression? And the husband walks away and is just like, oh, I hate her. Oh, she's awful. Like a more blanket approach, you know, just like, or almost like women be crazy, you know, and like walk away with just a general like head shake, you know, and not sit around and analyze for hours. Like, why did she get so upset when I offered to walk the dog and said that she looked tired, you know, like they're just like, oh, I offered to do a nice thing and she wasn't nice about it. Like she's
the
crazy,
worst.
you know? So,
have you been surprised hearing people's opinions about Jonathan and Cass?
I guess I'm a little surprised people really don't have as much sympathy for her as I would have thought. I don't know. I'd be curious to know what you think. I mean,
that's kind of how I felt. I'm on Team Jonathan.
You're on Team Jonathan. So most people were on Team Jonathan, and I'm okay with that because what I also wanted to capture is that we know everyone knows couples. We are surrounded, it's a couples world, and we're surrounded by couples. And from the outside, like, we can't always understand what draws these two people together, you know? And you might go to a wedding or go out with another couple and be like, I just don't get, like, what makes them tick and why they're into each other. But, like, it's not for us to say, you know? And there's something about her that he finds almost, like, addictive, you know, even if she doesn't always treat him that well.
Well, I related more to her, though. I feel like I'm more similar to her, but I liked him better. I don't know.
I think that's generally how a lot of people feel. But I would say that one thing that really can't be, you know, sort of understated is that the power of physical attraction, particularly for a man, is very important. And so while people say, like, oh, but, you know, she wasn't that nice to him, he's very sexually attracted to her and is a very important thing for him, you know, and that's I think it's important for women too, but I would say it's more important for men. And the fact that, like, he finds her beautiful, he wants to sleep with her, like, these are not small things, and there's a certain amount of abuse he's willing to take for it.
Yeah, right. I mean, it does feel like that there's a magnetism there that keeps him coming back to her. Okay. I was reading in Anne Helen Peterson's book about Jennifer Weiner and how she's sort of encouraging the literary community to be more welcoming to books written by women, especially when they're about relationships. And I was just wondering, in your career, have you felt that you've been respected in that way?
I've been mostly surrounded by women. I mean, it is a heavily female industry. So I think it bothers me when a man writes a book about relationships, like a Jonathan Tropper, and it's considered like absolute, you know, literary fiction, the next great thing.
Yeah.
But a woman does it, and it's just like, oh, here goes a woman churning out another one.
Chick lit or whatever.
Yes. It bothers me. Yeah. I don't really have a solution. I don't know how much further a woman has to go to write something that's considered literary fiction. I think for a man, it's just so much more rare that a man chooses to write in that genre, and maybe there is something more impressive about it because maybe it doesn't come as easily to men to write these kind of relationships books. Maybe we're just better at it, and so it's more common. I've always felt respected.
Good.
But I've also basically always been surrounded by women. Female agents, female editors, female editor bosses, female publicists. It's like feels like a professional sorority.
It's supportive. So okay, that's good.
I haven't ever felt myself getting dismissed. And people sometimes say, oh, good, I'm looking for another beach read. I want another beach book. But you know what? Ultimately, if they're willing to buy my book and call it whatever you want.
Yeah, sure. Read it wherever you want.
Right. And like, who's to say that like something you read on the beach isn't a good book?
Amen. Well, and come on now. I feel like, as you said, you went to Yale, You went to Columbia Law School. You've had so much success. You have nothing to prove, but it would annoy me, and that's why I asked if I felt like people weren't providing me the respect I deserved.
So far, I really can't complain. I mean, there are times I wonder, like, if I had submitted under a man's name, like how the response would have been different, and probably that this book, I think, would have even been better received coming from a man. But I am who I am, and I'm proud of writing, so I would never want to, like, hide behind another name, even though people do it.
My last question, because I know I've taken up your time, but we always ask everyone the same thing, which is, what do you keep in the trunk of your car if you have a car? Do you have a car?
No, I don't drive.
You're in New York, yeah. Do you have a bag that you carry around?
Yes, I'm like a super no frills person.
Ooh, minimalist.
So, a minimalist. I carry 2 things, a wallet and a cell phone, and that's it. Those are the only things. I actually just went on my book tour with my mom. She came with me to one of the cities, and I was like, wow, it's actually really helpful to carry a lot of things in your bag. Like when my breath was bad, she had mint, something got stuck in my teeth, and she had toothpicks. I got like really bad cramps, and she had Advil.
Right. What are you doing?
And I definitely saw the merits of a well-packed bag, but I also like really, I'm just so no frills, and I don't want to be weighed down by a heavy bag. So it's always cell phone, wallet, nothing else.
I can't believe it.
Like,
wow.
That's it.
That my sister does that, and then she just had this incident where she dropped her phone in the toilet out at a restaurant. It like was one of those automatic ones, so the phone went up and out immediately, and so she was like, "I'm getting a purse. That settles it."
It's so funny. Yeah, no, my friends are always like, if we go shopping, I need a bag with a lot of compartments for all my stuff. I'm like, no, just a bucket that holds my phone and my wallet, and that's it. And it's like, I'm a minimalist in everything.
Wow, because our theory is that whatever you keep in the trunk of your car or like the bag that you always have is like symbolic of where you are in your life. And usually people with kids have a ton of stuff. Like,
no, I'm at the mercy of other people. Like if my kid falls, like I'm asking everyone for a Band-Aid.
I like that. This is unusual.
Yeah, I don't carry Purell. Like most people have like wipes and Purell and all that stuff.
I like
my kids aren't really babies anymore. I feel like.
Well, and maybe if you don't have all the stuff on you, then they'll be more self-sufficient. Maybe.
Yeah, they don't ask. They don't say like, do you have gum?
Wow.
Do you have a piece of candy? Do you have a Band-Aid? Nothing.
Oh my gosh, I feel like you cracked a case here. We should
but you can't force it. Like, I just don't like to have anything. And they really, I'm saying it, like, they honestly never ask for anything because I guess they know that I don't have one of those Mary Poppins bags.
Oh my God.
That has everything you could need.
You've got it all figured out. Well, you're off the hook.
Not exactly.
I loved your book, and I just congratulate you on a job well done, and I hope you keep writing.
Thank you. I have another book coming out next summer.
No, you do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This one's a family drama.
Wow, you never stop. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. No, I love it. I love what I do.
Well, congrats.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
All right. Thanks so much.
Have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too. Take care.